I'm there and I hear the great story and I hear the speakers that spoke the day before and the speakers that are speaking now. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming up. And then I get out of the airport and I'm driving down and there's Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Bentleys all over the place. I'm like, what the hell? All right, welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo. We're here on a special time. We typically record this every Monday, but for circumstances completely out of my control, I just decided to say, hey, let me just reschedule a few things, and we're going to make this happen. Now, one of the things that I pride myself on is that I've been doing this here for the last 3.5, 4 years, where it's just one of the things that I need for my life, right? Is to showcase that I'm consistent, that I can stick to my word of doing the things that I said. And it also forces me to make sure that I'm grabbing onto the lessons that life is teaching me. I'm not just trying to forget what I'm learning. And as I move through this path and I look back 20 years from now, I think I'm going to really appreciate who I am today and the stories that I'm telling. So it's like this video journal, right? And at the same time, it inspires me and I hope it inspires you. And I got a few things to share with you today. So I am glad you were able to rearrange your schedule to join me today. But yesterday, just like most days, it starts with a early morning workout. Now, Martin Luther King Day, this is a long weekend for parents of volleyball, right? I have 2 daughters that play club volleyball, and anytime, and this is why I was not really hearing this. I got to put on my headphones here. Give me 1 second. And every time that this holiday comes around, it's like a festival. There's 3 days of volleyball from morning to night. And so I knew this, and I rearranged my schedule. I arranged my schedule to make sure that I can do all things. So typically on Monday mornings, I don't start my workouts until 6 a.m. Well, my daughters needed to be in Chandler at 7 a.m. So that means that I needed to get up earlier. My first thought was like, well, since I have to take them so early, I won't have time to work out and then take them all the way to Chandler. And that's about a 40-minute drive from where I live, right? 40 minutes. So I figured, okay, maybe I'll just work out later in the afternoon. But I know myself, and you may be thinking the same thing. You know yourself. When you say, I'm going to do this later, odds are it's not going to happen, especially if you're a creature of routine, which all of us are, right? If we have a pattern, if we have a way we do things, we typically stick to those things. So I know that if I didn't work out in the morning, it's not going to get done in the afternoon. It doesn't matter how much I try to will myself through it. It's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, it becomes a burden because all day I'm thinking, shit, I still have to go work out. I still have to go to the gym. And it weighs on me, right? To a point where I don't even go. So I knew that wasn't a good strategy. So what I figured is I said, okay, I'm just going to start a little bit earlier. So I'm going to start a 5 a.m. workout. And when I say 5 a.m., that requires me to wake up around 4:15 in the morning. I don't like to get up and just rush over to the gym or rush over to do a run or a cycling. I like to get up. I like to make sure that I got the proper nutrients. I want to make sure that I'm properly stretched. So I take my time. So I need 45 minutes to an hour before I actually go work out. So a 5 o'clock workout means a 4:15 wake-up call. So I said, okay, that's fine. No, not a problem. So the game plan is, all right, I'll go work out. And as soon as I go work out, I'll take Abigail. She's the first, her competition starts. She needs to be there at 7 o'clock, which means we have to leave like at 6:30 latest. 6:15 latest, right? In order to get there at that time. So I work out from 5 to 6. I rush home. I get her in the car and we're flying down to Chandler. All speed limit, just in case. So we're flying down there. And I drop her off, not a hiccup. Everything's going as planned. On my way back, I'm on the freeway, and all of a sudden, I hear this pop. And my gauge that tells you how much air pressure you have in your tires all of a sudden starts plummeting. I've never seen this before in my car. Okay, it goes from 0 and it starts rushing to -15, -20, -25. I'm like, oh damn, I got a flat. So I slow down on the freeway because I'm coming down this curve. So there's no exit right away. And I don't want to pull over on the side of the freeway. That's dangerous. And I don't know what I did was any less dangerous, but I figure being in my vehicle, putting on my emergency lights and kind of maneuvering to the right is a lot safer than me just pulling right over. at least in my mind. I don't want to be in a place, especially on a curve, where there's cars flying 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. I don't want to be in that place. So I'm going down this ramp, and the X is not for another mile. So I'm riding on my rim, my tire. It's flat, all right? It's flat. So I'm going maybe 35, 40 miles an hour on this freeway. So I get out, and I still have to do mindset mastery. This is one of the things that I've done for years. It always happens on Monday. Okay. And in order for me to make this work, I need to be back by 9 o'clock, by 9 a.m. in order to make this work, to fit my agenda. Well, it's about 8:15 now when I get this flat. So I'm going and I start putting the pressure on me. There's no way I can make this happen. So I go into a QT and I look at my tire, and sure enough, there's this big rod with the wire, like a wire wrapped around it. So it completely obliterated my tire. And of course, with new cars nowadays, they don't have spares. They just don't, right? So I don't have a spare. I need to call roadside. So I call them. It takes them about 45 minutes to get there. So now I'm like, dude, I have an agenda, because now I still have to go do mindset mastery and then take my other daughter that starts later on in the day back to Chandler. So now I am not only is my schedule interfered with, so is Carla's. Right? Because she was supposed to come to the office as I go pick up my daughter and then take him back over there. Now I have to call on her and tell her, hey, we only have one vehicle. Madeline still has to go out there, and we still have to go pick up Abigail. So I call roadside. They take me to the tire shop, and I'm thinking they're just going to plug it up, right? They're going to plug it up, and I'll be on my way. Well, I get there, and the tires that I have are so wide. They're like a sports tire, so they're not very common. It's not every day that these tires are sold. So now I find out that I won't have a car for 3 days. They have to ship it out here. It's a special order. I don't have a car for 3 days. So now I can't follow my agenda. I'm feeling the stress, right? I'm feeling the burdens of all the issues that are coming up. But I'm in a place where I'm not stressed out about it, right? Even when they told me the price of the tires, like, they told me what it was, and I was like, okay, it's just got to get done, right? I have no choice. I'm not going to dwell on how I should have, avoided this rod in the freeway, which I didn't see, by the way, or how much this is now going to cost me. But I was more thinking like, okay, I can pivot from here. I can make moves, and I can pivot. I still stuck to the agenda. My girls are still at volleyball. I am safe, and I'm just a little inconvenienced. So I sent out a message. I'm canceling Mindset Mastery. I'm postponing it. I'm not canceling it. I postpone it. Carla comes and picks me up from the discount tire, and I got them to take me to the discount tire closest to my house. The last thing I wanted is to be out there in Phoenix and having to worry about how to get home from that point. So they got me closest to the house. So she picks me up. We rush home. We rush back home. We pick up our other daughter, and we take her to Chandler. Okay. So now we're back on our agenda, but there was so much missed on the beginning part. She missed a lot of the stuff that she needed to get done. I missed a lot of the stuff that I needed to get done. And this could have put an unnecessary pressure on us. But I realized that, this is my opportunity to shine. This is my opportunity to just pivot and be present. My whole thing was to be in that same exact situation earlier that morning, in the situation where I can watch my daughters play volleyball. Now, the way I got there was completely out of my control, was completely different from where I thought I was going to get there, but I was able to let it go. And I realized, I said, listen, if I can't do this today, it will get done. I am not just going to disregard it the same way I did with my workout that morning. If I'm just going to get it done, I'm not going to disregard it. But realizing that it is our job, your job, when things come your way, when there's big challenges, is not to dwell on how it's messing up the rest of your day, of how you can't get things done. It's about pivoting. I didn't complain. I didn't dwell. I made a decision, and I owned it. Now I'm here on a Tuesday, and I'm asking you guys, and all I did was ask you guys to be here with me, and I appreciate you guys being here with me. I made a strategic plan to just say, hey, listen to this other mindset mastery that I love, that inspired me just days before. Listen to that in the meantime. And this is some of the things we can do as small business owners. We can't beat ourselves up for things not working on our way. Who knows what would have happened if I would have got here at that time? I don't know. I'm a firm believer that certain things happen the way they're supposed to. How do I know that? Because they did. It's how we respond to it, how we react to it. And I feel very, very elated to be able to showcase and to share with you another experience that just happened this weekend. But that was just yesterday. But I learned to appreciate that I am a master of pivoting. I am a master of just being in control. I don't allow the small things out of my control to control me. I do not allow the things outside of my control to control me. Things still got done. At the end of the day, I was exactly where I needed to be. So this past week, I committed to flying out to Newport and talk at one of my good friends' event. Now, I've known Nick Long, and he has a program called Multiple Club. He helps entrepreneurs get to that next level, okay? And he helps them in a very strategic way. He has a great team, great plan. It's a great program. I know him as a person, and he is authentic and real to the core. He's got real life experience. He's not one of these guys that just showcases success by just being popular on Instagram or on Facebook. He's showcased success because he's built something great. He's built multiple great businesses throughout the years. So at first, when he asked me, I was elated. I was like, great. I love speaking. I've spoken in crowds of 750 plus entrepreneurs. I've spoken in small crowds, big crowds, and everything in between, right? And to me, it's like, okay, this is perfect. I haven't done this in a while, especially during the COVID, the whole COVID pandemic that's happening. There's not a lot of these things going on. So I agreed, and I'm happy. I'm happy for him, and so I put it on my planner. Then all of a sudden, almost instantly, since the moment he asked me to the moment I got there, I was burdened by my decision. I was burdened because it was outside of my daily routine. And I think that's important for us to understand that sometimes we have to get out of our routine to discover the next opportunity. And that is today's topic, right? Opportunities are in the things you are avoiding. So I almost immediately, I start thinking about all the planning I have to do to make sure that I'm able to deliver for him at this event. I'm in front of high-producing entrepreneurs. I'm in front of people that are used to going into masterminds. So I need to come in with with fire. I need to come in inspirational, motivational. At least that's what I was thinking. So almost immediately, I am burdened by my decision, right? Have you ever been in that situation where you agree to do something and all of a sudden you're like, damn it, it's going to require more from me. It's going to require more attention. It's going to require more preparation. It's going to require things that I don't have in place. I needed to update. This is how silly this whole thing. I needed to update my bio. I needed to update my bio picture. Now that's another couple things I have to do. Now I have to create a video. So I have to stop my team from doing what we have to do here within the organization to do this other thing outside of the organization that doesn't necessarily benefit me, right? Those are the things that kind of went through my mind. It doesn't benefit me right away. Like, why am I doing this? I'm using my resources, and we're already behind on a few things. I have to pull all my resources, all my time and energy, and I have to now do this other thing for this thing I committed. And I'm like burdened by the decision. I have the building. I'm too busy. I still have planning. We still have, just so many things on our agenda that I am burdened by this decision. And then that burden became a nuisance. Damn it. I have to leave on Friday morning, which means I have to rearrange my schedule again. I have to start off earlier working out because in order to get my workout in, I need to start earlier so I can catch my flight so I can go to Newport and then go give this speech. So now I'm burdened and it's a nuisance on me. I'm so busy. I'm already training for this Ironman. Why in the hell am I doing this? Why did I agree? Then it started coming to excuses. Maybe I'll just call him. Even though he has me on his pamphlet already, that I'm coming in to speak, maybe I just tell him, hey, something came up. Like I'm starting to look for excuses now. Something came up. You know what? I'm not breathing very well. Maybe I'm getting like allergies or I'm getting sick. Maybe it's a flu. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe I finally got COVID. You know, if I catch this, then I won't have to fly. Then I won't have to fly to Newport to go and speak. This is something that I love. This is something that I prepare for. I put hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of messages out there, of coaching, of talking in front of crowds. I got thousands and thousands of hours. Now it's like it's becoming this burden. It became this nuisance. It became this excuse. And because I'm already in the negative state, and I think we all go through this, a small business owner, we're already feeding ourselves how it was a dumb decision, how big of a nuisance it is, and then the excuses of why you can't do it. Then it becomes this thing of, am I even qualified? Like, where did that come from? Am I even qualified to be able to speak in front of a group of entrepreneurs? Like, I'm just this guy from a local brokerage owner. Like, who am I now? Right? How did it get there? Who am I? Like, what am I going to tell them that they don't know? How can I possibly inspire them? There's people that are doing it at a much higher level than I am. Why? So now it's like this self-loathing, this disregard for what I've built because I'm already in that negative space. After initially saying, I'm all in, this is awesome, this is great. So I'm flying out there that morning, and I tell Carla, I'm like, dude, I don't even know why I agreed to this. Like, you know, they have this speaker and they have that speaker. I have to follow this person. Like, what? Why? Those guys are doing it at this level. Why would they want to hear from me? So I demeaned myself. I disregarded my journey. I disregarded what I've built. So I'm going out there already defeated. I'm going out there with a poor attitude. So I get on this plane. And again, the whole thing's going, I'm trying to, get my presentation online, which I never do. When I do a presentation, it's only a couple bullet points. It's not elaborate. So on the plane, I catch myself making something all elaborate, right? Because I have somebody else's, success on my mind. As opposed to going in with what's made me successful, I'm thinking now I have to do what this person did or talk at the level this other person has. So I'm overcomplicating this whole damn thing. I'm overcomplicating. I'm like, okay, fuck. I'm typing away on the plane. And then when I get off the plane, my typical, and I've gone to, Orange County so many times, all right, so many times. So I have a routine of what I typically do. So I get off the plane and I usually just go to the Payway there, right? There's a Payway restaurant there. I like to just get a chicken, a steamed chicken bowl with light sauce. That's what I go to, right? I don't like really eating out, but when I do, I try to make the right selections. The last thing I want to do is get fried food in me or high carb food in me or just greasy food. So that's like the cleanest that I can see. Before I go on my day. So I get off my plane, and I knew right away because I can see through the entire airport, and I know it's closed. I can see it from my point of view, it's closed. So I decide to walk down there anyway. Because if I'm not going there, I'm going down the escalator and going to get my rental car. That's just my routine. But this day, there was no real hurry to get anywhere, right? I didn't have to speak for a couple more hours. And I wasn't putting that pressure on me. I was more like trying to delay time for some reason. So I walk all the way over there. I stand in front of the closed restaurant. And I'm just standing there looking at it, right? So then I walk all the way back. And I go into this convenience store. And I just look around. There's nothing there. I didn't buy anything. I don't know what I'm doing, really. So then I walk into the bathroom, I use the restroom, I wash my hands, come back out, and I'm just like, no real hurry. But everything was out of my norm. I don't do that. It's usually if I get off on the airport, I go straight to Bayway, and then I go down the escalator. That's how quick I get out of there. Today, I'm wasting time here. So as I'm coming back and I'm finally making my way to the escalator, there's this dude that I met through the different mastermind groups that I've done. I met him, I want to say 3-4 years ago. And the last time I talked to him, like really sat down and talked to him, was about 2 years ago. Okay? So 2 years ago, we just haven't been, in touch. But whenever we do get together, it's a lot of great conversation. It's like we just didn't even skip a beat. It's that type of person. I think we all have those relationships, right? Where you don't necessarily see a person for a long time and there's really no catching up. It's just the conversation just kind of picks up where you left off. As a matter of fact, it picks up where you're at the moment. And if you're around the right people, it's at a much higher level. You just understand. It's not about, someone staying behind. If you have the right people around you, it's like you're talking at the level you've worked to be at. So 2 years ago, I was very different from the person I am today, right? But yet the conversations were very much in line with one another because he's grown tremendously throughout the years, the last couple years. Well, let me tell you about this gentleman, and I'm not going to put out his name out there. I'm just going to tell you about the story around him. So I run into this guy. Well, over the last 2 years, he's worked his butt off. Okay, he's had a very successful financial company, but he started going into internet marketing. He was generating leads for his financial company. Well, over the last 2 years, he's learned a lot. He's masterminding with some of the best. He belongs part of the Tzu Quote Club, and he's got that in the last 3 years in a row. The Tzu Quote Club is a ClickFunnels award for those that are able to generate $1 million plus in revenues through the different funnels. So in 2020, as everybody was starting to take their ease, he gave them no rest. Oh, General Sun Tzu, right? We all love that quote. When he takes his ease, give him no rest. Well, he did. And all the work, and I've seen his work ethic. So everything he has today was not by accident. It was by sheer will, grit, and determination. Well, this guy's blown it up. He's worked with, Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels. He works with some of the most popular marketers out there. This guy has a process that is blown up. He's moved from where he was in Northern California, and he's moved to Orange County. Orange County, right by the beach, right? Some of the most expensive real estate in the U.S. This guy has made it at a very high level, right? 8-figure earner. That's after all expenses, 8-figure earner. So I see him. I mean, here's the thing. I almost didn't have the conversation. Everyone's wearing a damn mask, right? So I walk right by him. He's on the phone. I walk right by him, and I pause. And have you ever been in a situation when you recognize somebody, but you're like, do I really want to have this conversation? Like I was already out. He's on his phone. Like, do I really want to have this conversation? If you see somebody else, like sometimes you don't feel like talking to somebody, you like avoid them altogether. You pretend you don't see them, so you don't have that conversation. Well, I was in that same spot where I was like, yeah, I see him, but is it really him? I mean, he's got a mask on. Deep down, I know it's him, right? He's got a mask on. I don't think it's him. So I'm trying to convince myself just to go, right? Just to go. And something about, I think if you would have seen it from third-person perspective, I would have been like frozen going this way. I would have literally looked physically, like going from one side to the next. Nah, forget it. Like, it would have been so hilarious to see me from a third-person perspective because I was really just frozen. Should I go back? Should I not? And I said, you know what? I haven't seen him. I'm just going to say hi, right? And I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, Z, how are you? And I see him right away by the success that he's gained, right? I didn't know the magnitude of it until later on. But I see him and I talk, and here's the thing. At first, it didn't inspire me. Like, it was good to see him again, but the way he blew up, I was overwhelmed by the success. And now it feeds the story of why am I here? I'm like, this dude that owns a local brokerage, coming to talk to these entrepreneurs. And the first person I run into out of this airport is making 8 figures plus a year, right? He's flying him and his wife are flying out and doing all these great things. He's got like a $50,000 watch on. And I'm like, dude, it's awesome to see that, but it's like overwhelming to process it, right? To process it, I'm like, dude, I'm on this track, but holy shit, like you took it to a completely different level, a completely different, standard. So, we touch base and, we've texted throughout the years and stuff. We've done some, some interviews and stuff together. And so now I'm like, it was good to see him. He's stuck in my mind. And then I go back to me and I'm like, fuck. Like, does everybody here in the OC right now, I get out after I talk to him, and let me tell you how much of a chance this is. First of all, what are the chances, right, of running into somebody in the middle of the week with at the same time, in the same place? He was literally the last person. They called him over the intercom to get on the plane. He was literally the last person to get on this plane, and I was meant to run into him. But I didn't see that opportunity right away. In fact, all it did was to support the story of who am I? It doesn't matter how much success I've had. It doesn't matter how much happiness I found, fulfillment in my life, how great a shape I am, where I don't have to worry about finances, where I don't have to worry about divorce. I support the story of who am I? And I've seen this many times, especially in the real estate industry, where individuals, rock star agents, are on their game, but at the moment they get a client that's far, far superior than what they're used to. They get a $2 million buyer, a $3 million buyer, and all of a sudden they start questioning themselves like, who am I? And start asking questions like they just started in the industry. Like, what do I say? What do I do? You've sold hundreds of properties. But whenever it's outside your element, we question ourselves, like, who am I? Almost like a reason to ask ourselves, do I really deserve this? And I've heard that many, many times, where we have rock star agents, all of a sudden there's somebody completely, or price range completely what they're not used to, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do. Right? A disregard to our own power, a disregard to our own experience, our own convictions. We disregard all that. And we spend a lot of time just demeaning ourselves, degrading and questioning ourselves. So when I hear this, it doesn't necessarily make me feel that much greater for myself, because now I'm like, holy shit, like, okay, I'm in the OC, which I've been there, 40, 50 times, right? And speaking a number of times out there, but all of a sudden I forget about those things. So I'm there and I hear the great story and I hear the speakers that spoke the day before and the speakers that are speaking now. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming up. And then I get out of the airport and I'm driving down and there's Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Bentleys all over the place. I'm like, what the hell? Who am I? Who am I? Because I'm stuck in my own negative thought process? Because I'm stuck just, downplaying my efforts and what I've built throughout the years? Understand that we didn't exist, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We didn't exist. Now to lead our market? Unbelievable. To start it from scratch? It's not heard of. One of the largest independent brokerages? Highest sales per agent ratio in our market. Not to mention our do the work coaching and consulting, not to mention my marriage, and now like competing in my second Ironman 70.3. But none of that mattered at that moment. I'm comparing myself to what I see, right? And how many times do we do that? How many times, because it's outside of the things we're used to, now all of a sudden we're not good enough? And I see this again with a lot of agents with videos. They're great communicators. They're great teachers and great leaders. But at the moment you ask them to put a video about themselves, they shut down. Who am I? Who am I to do this? Who am I to tell others how to do certain things? How to give my opinion on certain things? It happens all the time. So I'm driving down, and I get there, and I see these other speakers, and it was great to run into all the guys that I've met through Wake Up Warrior and through other masterminds, and we got players in the room. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in production by the different individuals there. We got players, and I forget about all the things that I was disregarding myself about, and I'm just in the moment. And we're catching up, and we're just talking, and they ask me about the building, they ask me about the trajectory, they ask me about do the work coaching and all this other stuff, right? And I start forgetting about like my inefficiencies, my inadequacies of what I thought they were. And then at the moment they call me up, I'm like, oh damn, I got my presentation. So I go up there and I'm trying to follow this damn presentation, and I'm looking around. And I'm like, these guys are not looking to be motivated. Let me think from where they're at right now. They're spearing along. They're making great money as an entrepreneur. I, too, made a lot of money as an entrepreneur. But I know there's people in this room that are disregarding other aspects of their life. I can see and sense some pain in some of those individuals. They are here because something is not working. Even though they may show and showcase the finances behind what is working, the reason they are there is because there's certain things that are not working. How about I just drop all the BS? And how about I just speak from my own experience, from my soul, from my heart? How about I go there? There's people that just need to talk about the things that are not good, the things that they're lacking, the things that they're avoiding, the conversations they are missing. So I dropped the presentation. And I just started talking from my heart, from my experience, from my journey. And there's no one else out there that knows more about your experience, the level of and the depth of the pain that you've endured and overcome, and the obstacles that you overcame than you. And when you talk about those things, it's always received the way it's supposed to. It's not trying to be forced down. It's not trying to be motivational. It's not trying to do anything else but just to speak from your own experience. And guess what happens? Energetically, everyone in the room will receive it. Everyone in the room will get a lesson from it. They will grow from it. So I dropped the presentation. And I just spoke about my story, about the journey, about the hiccups, about the mistakes, about the lessons, my patterns, how I treated my family, the contrast of who I was to who I am. And I brought the house down. There was tears in their eyes. There was hope in their eyes. These individuals. As soon as I was done, I had so many people come to me. Just thank me for being so raw and open. Thank me for speaking about the things that kept me from happiness. Because even though they were showcasing a lot of money and success here, they were missing other aspects, especially when it came to their marriage and their family. That's what I was there to do. To simply share my story, my journey. And I know I impacted lives. And because I was able to impact others, there's always an opportunity on the other side. You see, the gentleman that I met at the airport, it wasn't by sheer chance. It wasn't, luck. I was meant to run into him. After processing what he does, after processing what I've built to this point. We were supposed to meet for a specific reason. The next phase of Do the Work coaching and consulting is in the works right now. I went and I was burdened. It was a nuisance. I was overwhelmed, but I went anyway. And now there's an opportunity I did not see just 24 hours ago that is now right in front of my face, and I can picture it. It is drawn out. It is so vivid of where I'm going with this. But I would have never seen that opportunity if I avoided it. And for those of you that I've mentioned to you to document your life, to video your life, many of you have been avoiding it since the day you walked into these doors, and you continue to avoid it to this day, and you're not giving yourself the opportunity to see what's on the other side. Give yourself that chance. Because I put myself in an area where I was not very comfortable with, where I could have easily just said I'm too busy, because I am really. I got a lot of shit going on. And because I just spoke from my soul, I know I impacted others. And that led me to see this other grand opportunity of the gentleman I ran into the airport. The last person into his plane, and he was meant to talk. I was meant to meet him. This whole thing was for me to see him. And I could only discover that when I was able to serve others and get out of my own head and be proud of what I built. And here's the thing. The next phase is coming. And it's there. It's massive. And just 24 hours before that, I could not see any of it. And I'm telling you, those opportunities are there for you if you just choose to play outside the parameters you find safe. And I know one thing. As you start seeing this next move from what we do, I know you'll be inspired. I know you'll want to make bigger moves, because your moves inspire me, and I know the moves that we make inspire you. And that's what makes our brokerage so great, our organization so great, because we keep going. We're going to improve, and we're going to create massive things. So guys, opportunities will always be in the things that we're avoiding. So just simply ask yourself, what are you avoiding? Let's start with the simple things. Let's start with the videos. Maybe you're avoiding them. Maybe it's avoiding the phone calls and the text messages. Just lean into that. Open yourself up to the opportunities on the other side of that discomfort. It's there. Don't disregard who you are and who you've become over the years. For the sake of comparison, don't do that. It's amazing what will come your way. These opportunities are grand. They're massive. Guys, like I see it so vivid. And I spoke to Carla about it, and the first thing she said is like, I didn't see it before. It's coming. I know today was a little bit longer, but I just had so much to share. But I want to thank you for joining me today. Let's go ahead and read a few comments here. What's coming up in your mind? How is this similar? How can this help you? And I hope that you understand that, it doesn't matter how many reps we have. Sometimes when it's even outside of our comfort zone, we are going to question ourselves. Our job is just to continue to move forward, to pivot, to make the right moves. Like this whole time, it was just meant to meet that person. The chances of him running into him again like that, it's 1 in a million. But I only saw what I was supposed to do when I just followed my heart and I served others. Amir, yeah, how dare you inadvertently hit something that's super hard to see. Man, but that's the first thing, right? It's like, why didn't I, go around that? What? I didn't see it. Andrew, I love your honesty. Thank you very much, Andrew. You're doing the right things too, man. Putting yourself out there and just speak from your heart And guys, one of the advice I'll give you is just don't go out there trying to teach lessons. Just speak whatever lessons you're learning. People will connect with that. What did you learn? What was the obstacle? How did you overcome? Louis, when life throws you a curveball, readjust. Where to go? Okay, readjust your focus and swing harder than you'll ever have. Absolutely. And sometimes we over-prepare, we over-analyze, we over-critique when we just have to be ourselves. And that's one thing I've told every one of you. Just be you powerfully. Just be you powerfully. Don't try to be like this person or that person. Just be you. And every one of you has a business revolved around your personalities. And that's what will make you last in this industry. If you try to posture your way through this, you're going to burn out and fizzle out. But if you're you, you'll last for decades. Hands down, one of my favorite Mindset Mastery podcasts, So Real and Raw. Thank you so much, man. Man, it's amazing how the world works, right? It's amazing. If you do the right things, the right things will just come together. We have Louis. Opportunities are found in the things we are avoiding. Absolutely. Teresa, I have to remember that the little things don't need to knock me down so big. It really isn't big deal if I go for a walk. Yeah, it's a simple solution, right? And sometimes we just allow these small things just to stack against us where it seems like it's an army. Well, it's not. It's not an army. It's just, a stack of little things that we just have to overcome. So I'm just so happy that I was just able to move forward. And I'm asking you guys, like, whatever it is that you're avoiding right now, just let's see what's on the other side. And yeah, you're going to go through the entire gamut of emotions, right? Where you're burdened and it's a nuisance, and then you come up with excuses, and then you may question yourself. But at the end of the day, you'll come out bigger on the other side, regardless of if it was worth it or not. You'll come out bigger. And Teresa, you're one of those individuals that leaned in, started just putting that camera to your face. People got to know you. They've always known you, but they see you a little different now. It's amazing what video does, right? Whenever you put a video in front of them, now you're an authority. And people love you, they like you, they trust you, right? And all those things there has now, morphed into what you've built today. And you can't forget that. And it was all built around you. Not a philosophy, not a strategy, but simply around you. Bonnie, just show up. I always remember that. Awesome. Malia, I'd have to say that hearing you this morning feels like my airport acquaintance. Thank you for the inspiration. Love it. All right, guys, I hope this served you. Always lessons to learn. Put yourself in a position where you can learn it and share it. Everything that I share here in Mindset Mastery is just being aware of my life, being aware of the beautiful lessons life is teaching me. So guys, thanks again for joining me. Until next time, I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.